Our story opens, we are shown a place called Kujal, where rain has stopped for a long time. The land is cracked from drought. There is no water anywhere in the village. Animals in the forest are dying of thirst. Vultures eat their flesh. Wells are completely dry. People are collapsing from thirst. And because of this shortage, many villagers try to escape this land. But the king of this place, Margrave L, hates this idea and believes anyone who leaves the land is a traitor. So those who try to flee are punished and killed, and this cruel task is given to his son Kujal, so he can watch over those trying to escape. And Kujal is a powerful mage with the blood of the divine king flowing through him, an upper-class prince, and as he looks around, his eyes fall on an injured woman clutching her son tightly in fear, and looking at her he coldly remarks that even animals remember kindness from their masters, yet humans forget it so easily, saying that the moment drought arrives, they run away from the village and daring to break the king's rules, and then a woman begs him with folded hands to at least spare her child. But in front of the child, a soldier kills the mother, and the child freezes in terror, too small to do anything, and Kujal asks the soldier how he can be so heartless, only for the soldier to apologize for killing her without permission, and Kujal laughs it off, calling these people boring and their crying not even entertaining. And then he notices villagers tied and hanging from trees for trying to escape, and his gaze stops on a woman holding her husband tightly to keep him alive, and he casually comments that parents protect children while wives protect their husbands, and suddenly a soldier points out a badly injured man and asks if he should tie him to the tree as well, saying otherwise he will die too quickly and there will be no fun, and the man's wife in great pain tries to stop them, but foolish soldiers push her down, breaking her spirit as she sobs loudly while her husband is tied up, and she clings to him desperately to keep him alive, a sight that brings amusement to Kujal and the soldiers, and Kujal steps closer and tells her to keep holding him like that because if she lets go his vein will burst and he will die on the spot. And just then a voice from behind warns him not to take the prince's decision so lightly, and when Kujal turns he recognizes Ji Beck, saying he was the one who taught him how to use a sword, and Ji Beck asks if it is right to sink so low just to punish helpless people, saying a prince with divine blood should not do such disgraceful acts and should at least protect his own honor. But Kujal replies that if he kills everyone, then who will be left to stain his honor, calling the villagers useless fools who ruined his pride just because it did not rain, and he challenges Ji Beck by asking if he will go and announce his actions like beating a drum, questioning whether a church guardian would dare insult divine royal blood, and Ji Beck calmly says that truth can never stay hidden forever and will always come out one day, which leaves Kujal confused, and when a soldier whispers asking if Ji Beck should be tied up as well, Kujal instead orders a whip, and without hesitation he cruelly beats the woman who is still holding her husband, shocking Ji Beck as he watches a foolish young master misuse his power, and even after Kujal grows tired, he sees that the woman still refuses to let go, making him laugh and say the sight is truly entertaining, and as he leaves with his soldiers he mockingly tells Ji Beck to smile and enjoy life because tomorrow is never guaranteed, and he walks away leaving behind villagers hanging lifelessly from trees as morning turns into evening, and Ji Beck remains standing there watching innocent people who only tried to leave due to thirst being brutally killed for someone's amusement. And then the injured husband speaks weakly to his wife Sophia, asking her to forgive him and run away, but she refuses and keeps holding him to stop his death, and she pulls out a gold coin and asks him if it is true that it can summon the Herald clan, breaking down as she realizes no one is there to help them, and as night falls and darkness spreads everywhere, Sophia collapses unconscious, and Ji Beck tries to give her water, and when she wakes she asks who he is, and sees him helping her, and he gives her food and gently asks if she can eat, but after a little she faints again, and Ji Beck leans against the same tree and spends the entire night staring at the sky, and when morning comes he wakes Sophia and says he must leave quickly because he came here secretly, and if Kojal finds out he will be punished, and he tells her she no longer needs to keep holding her husband because using a wooden stick he helps him stand, shocking Sophia, who rushes forward, throws the stick away, and holds her husband with her own hands, stunning Ji Beck, and she asks his name and promises that when the Herald clan arrives she will ask them to spare him, and hearing this Ji Beck asks if she means the soulless Herald clan believed to be messengers, and Sophia lowers her head showing she truly called for them, and Ji Beck says he does not know if they are real or just stories, but even if they exist, Kojal has 20 powerful soldiers, and Ji Beck himself stands with him, and Kojal is blue-blooded, an upper-class prince, warning her that heirs of divine blood are extremely dangerous, but Sophia replies that no matter how powerful Kojal is, the Herald clan will still kill them because they are feared mages known for destruction, called heralds because they have killed divine kings before, and Ji Beck laughs saying her words could make anyone dizzy, then tells her his name is Ji Beck and that he guards the king's church, saying he did not give his name, so she she could beg for his life, but because if they truly come, he will fight until his last breath, and he promises to return at night before leaving, while Sophia remains behind in sadness, her eyes falling toward a strange triangle drawn near her feet. As she looks at it, she starts thinking to herself that only 2 days are left now, and then the Herald clan will surely arrive, and with this thought, episode 1 fully comes to an end, and episode 2 begins by showing us a flashback of Irfin and Sophia, where we see a very beautiful village surrounded by trees, mountains, and the sea, with greenery spread everywhere, and in that moment, Irfin is holding a gold coin in his hand and gives it to Sophia as a gift, which leaves her confused, as she asks what kind of coin this is, and Irfin gently asks her if she has ever heard about the Herald clan, and hearing this, Sophia thinks for a while, and says that when she was a little girl, her father used to tell her stories, and one of them was about the Herald clan, who as far as she remembers were known as the Slayers of Saints and the Soulless, and Irfin then explains that this coin was taken from a great king's treasure, and that with this coin she can summon them whenever she wants, but he quietly warns her to be careful because if she ever truly possesses it, and the king finds out, he will have her killed, and Sophia then asks why he is giving her such a dangerous thing, and Irfin replies that he is giving it to her so that if something bad ever happens, this coin might help them, because it is said that if she draws a triangle on the ground and places the coin in the center, a herald will appear to help her, though he hopes they never see such a day. And the scene returns to the harsh present, where under the burning afternoon sun, Sophia is standing while holding her husband and staring at the triangle, whispering that only 2 days are left, just 2 days, and as she says this, she collapses unconscious onto the ground while Irfin hangs injured from the tree, and silence fills the place with no one there to help them. And in the next scene we are shown Kojal's palace, where soldiers are bathing to escape the heat, and Jibek looks up at the sky and comments that the heat feels worse today, and suddenly Kojal's voice comes from behind teasing him for looking too sad lately and telling him to smile and enjoy life, and Jibek calmly replies that if they keep killing people like this, then who will they even collect taxes from, and Kojal responds that people are trying to flee and theft is increasing, and since their territory has very fertile land, they plan to send their remaining people there to live, saying that children born on such land should not suffer because of a few lazy and foolish people who ruined farming and are now trying to escape. And hearing this, Jibek feels anger rising inside him but stays silent, and Kojal continues saying the drought exists because people are not loyal to the king, claiming the law says such selfish people deserve punishment, that those who destroyed the land should be punished while those who made it fertile deserve land because they earned it, insisting he is doing all this only to save people, and before leaving he threatens Jibek, saying that if he wants to stand against him, then he should use all his strength, and Kojal walks away. And in another scene, evening falls as strong winds blow through the village, which now looks like a dry ruin, water completely gone everywhere, and near a well, a man lies unconscious and close to death from thirst, and as night approaches, Jibek returns to the place where Sophia's husband and Irfin were left hanging injured, and when he arrives he feels deep sadness seeing Sophia lying unconscious on the ground and realizing that both Irfin and her husband are now dead, thinking that even if the herald arrives now there is no point because it is already too late, and suddenly a shadow rushes toward Jibek and from behind places a sword at his neck, warning him not to move or even look back or his head will be cut off, and Jibek is shocked that in such a deserted place a sword is suddenly at his throat, wondering if this is truly a powerful herald or perhaps a ghost, and he asks if the stranger is really a herald, to which the voice calmly answers yes, and when Jibek gives his name, the herald tells him not to be afraid, saying he thought Jibek was the contractor who summoned him with the coin, adding that it would have been even more interesting if a church guardian had summoned him, which makes Jibek ask if he is threatening him, and then the herald notices Sophia's lifeless body and realizes she was the one who summoned him, casually saying that now she is dead and the coin belongs to him for free, before asking Jibek what exactly happened here, and Jibek agrees to explain but asks him to remove the sword and keep some distance, and in the blink of an eye, the herald appears 100 meters away, leaving Jibek stunned and frightened, wondering if this truly is a ghost, and the herald remarks that Jibek must have believed he would be easily killed if he had not been caught off guard, adding that as a church guardian, he should have some courage. And with that, episode 2 ends and episode 3 begins, and Jibek asks if the herald is a mage, and the herald replies that everyone in the Herald clan is a mage except him, which confuses Jibek, who asks if what he did earlier was not magic, and the herald explains that it is often hard to tell the difference between superhuman strength and magic, and then Jibek suddenly asks his name and rank, and after a pause the herald says his name is Azad Din, and that he is the 108th messenger of souls, which makes Jibek think that 108th is the lowest rank, yet Yet Azad-Din does not seem ordinary at all, and Azad-Din reminds Jibek of his promise and asks him to explain what is happening. And Jibek takes him to a village surrounded by mountains where trees are dried, the ground is cracked, and water is gone. And seeing this, Azad-Din understands everything and says that his contract is already complete and starts to leave. But suddenly an owl descends from the sky and sits on his shoulder, telling him that they arrived as per the contract, but the one who summoned them is dead, meaning the gold coin is theirs for free. And hearing a talking owl, Jibek is shocked beyond belief, and the owl suggests they should move on to another mission without delay. And as Azad-Din turns to leave, Jibek stops him and asks if they simply take the reward and leave when the summoner dies. And Azad-Din replies that if Jibek wants him to finish the job he was summoned for, then his young master will suffer greatly. And when Jibek says that will never happen because he will fight and defeat him, Azad-Din calmly asks if Jibek plans to kill him with a sword that was never raised for justice, not even for his own protection, saying that is disappointing. And Jibek grows angry, and Azad-Din asks whether he is angry at him or at himself for watching injustice and doing nothing, which makes Jibek shout and ask what Azad-Din even knows about him. And Azad-Din explains that people may see the same thing but feel differently, that one person may see a dream while another feels nothing, just like how Jibek sees innocent deaths as injustice while soldiers see it as normal. And Jibek insists that he is a church guardian and protecting the young master is his duty. And Azad-Din replies that he has no desire to fight him, and that if Jibek feels even a little pain over the girl's death, then he cannot be his enemy. And Azad-Din lifts the dead bodies onto his shoulders and asks Jibek for a cloth, and Jibek asks what he plans to do, and Azad-Din answers that he is going to attend their funeral, and together they dig 2 graves under the same tree for Safiya and Irfan and bury them. And after the funeral, Jibek asks what Azad-Din likes about the rescue team, and Azad-Din calmly says that people Jibek protects are coming from behind, and Jibek turns to see Kojal approaching with his 20 powerful soldiers, and Kojal mocks him, saying it seems he liked that woman too much, and that if he had said earlier, they would not have killed her. And Jibek is terrified, realizing Kojal found out he helped her, seeing the overwhelming force before him. And Kojal then looks at Azad-Din and asks who this foolish man is, and before he can finish, Azad-Din fires an arrow that strikes a soldier directly in the eye, leaving him screaming in pain as blood pours out and he collapses on the ground, shocking all the soldiers, while Jibek wonders how Azad-Din could aim so perfectly from such a distance. And Azad-Din fires another arrow at a second soldier who raises his shield to block it, but the arrow pierces through the shield and strikes his stomach, dropping him to the ground wounded and filling the rest with fear. And Jibek watches in disbelief as Azad-Din calmly says that earlier Jibek asked what he likes about the rescue team, and he explains that he likes ideas that show the true value of humans. Value earned through effort, not something given at birth, unlike those born with divine blood who turn against their own people. Saying this, Azad-Din pulls out another arrow from his quiver and attacks the remaining soldiers. And with that, episode 3 comes to an end, and episode 4 begins where Kojal becomes furious after seeing Azad-Din attacking his men. And in anger, Kojal orders Jibek to kill Azad-Din. But before anything can happen, Azad-Din leaps high into the air, pauses for a moment, pulls out another arrow, and fires at the remaining soldiers. The arrow flying straight into one soldier's eye, blood pouring out as the man goes blind. And in the same way, Azad-Din keeps shooting arrows and injuring the rest. And then one arrow narrowly passes Kojal and strikes the eye of a soldier standing behind him. And at that moment, Kojal realizes that Azad-Din is not killing anyone but leaving them alive and wounded. And one by one, all of Kojal's soldiers fall badly injured, which fills Kojal with rage. And suddenly Azad-Din appears right behind him and calmly says that his name is Azad-Din and that he is a sacred messenger, which terrifies Kojal and his men. And when Kojal turns back, he sees that Azad-Din has no arrows left, so he orders his soldiers to attack. But in the next instant, Azad-Din punches Kojal with such force that he is knocked off his horse and crashes to the ground, and now with no arrows left, Azad-Din is surrounded. Yet when a soldier attacks from behind, he dodges easily and knocks him down with a punch, then picks up that soldier's sword and challenges the rest to come at him if they dare. And suddenly something dark crosses his mind, and with that sword he cuts off both legs of a wounded soldier on the ground, making the others freeze in fear. And as Azad-Din walks toward them, their bodies tremble, and one by one he defeats them all alone, leaving every soldier injured on the ground. And then he walks toward Kojal, who lies wounded and helpless. And Azad-Din coldly says that it seems he gave him far too much time, calling him trash who spreads pain and despair. And in desperation, Kojal Kojal uses his magic to release a blinding light so bright that no one can see, leaving the injured soldiers completely blind, and Kojal believes Azad-Din has gone blind too, boasting about his powerful magic, but Azad-Din can still see clearly, and in that moment he slashes Kojal's throat with his sword, leaving him screaming in pain and collapsing to his knees, unable to do anything except suffer, and Kojal desperately asks what Azad-Din has done to him, and Azad-Din calmly replies that he never even noticed when it happened, then grabs Kojal by the hair, breaking his pride, and when Kojal begs and offers money, women, weapons, and everything he owns as the sole heir of the Yaga's holy family, Azad-Din tells him that punishment for his deeds is unavoidable, and Kojal then notices G-Bek behind Azad-Din and cries for help, but G-Bek too is blinded by the magic and sees nothing, and Kojal threatens Azad-Din again, boasting of his noble blood and claiming he cannot be killed for such a small crime, yet Azad-Din points out that even now his pride remains, and without mercy he takes out a dagger and destroys both of Kojal's eyes, leaving him screaming until he collapses unconscious. And with that, episode 4 ends, and episode 5 begins as G-Bek draws his sword and declares that as a guardian of the king's church he cannot allow Azad-Din to leave, but Azad-Din calmly says G-Bek is different from other guardians who are greedy outcasts hiding behind the church, and when G-Bek grows angry, Azad-Din suddenly disappears, leaving G-Bek shocked and confused, and as G-Bek looks at the injured soldiers he realizes none of them had the courage to face Azad-Din, and looking up at the sky he feels a heavy weight finally lift from his chest, and then the scene shifts to a royal palace where a king sits on his throne, as villagers kneel and beg for their tax to be forgiven, explaining that people are fleeing, those who stay are dying of hunger and thirst, and the village is full of thieves and monsters, and the king, Margrave Kajal, listens closely before mocking them and suggesting they might even need food to survive, confusing the villagers, and when they ask for clarity, the king says they are not even fit to pay taxes and offers them freedom, making them think he means mercy, but in truth it is their last day, and soon 3 farmers are hanged in front of the village as a warning, after which the king shows a copy of a magical book called the Book of the Divine King, and promises that whoever brings it to him will have their taxes forgiven and receive grain, filling the farmers with hope as they rush off to search, and as the king sits thinking, a serpent woman appears and warns him that revealing the book's name was careless, but the king mocks her for failing to find even a page in centuries, believing even one page would be lucky, and when she brings news that Kojal has lost a battle to a lone herald, the king is shocked, realizing they too seek the book, and upon hearing that Kojal is alive but blinded and ruined, the king orders more soldiers to be sent to kill the herald clan, and elsewhere under the burning desert sun, Azad-Din and the owl wander in search of water when ghostly figures appear, revealing the souls of those killed at the tree, who thank Azad-Din for fighting for them and warn that the land is unlivable, and Azad-Din tells them their revenge is complete and sends them on, and Safia's spirit points toward a well, guiding him, and when Azad-Din reaches it he finds no water, only dry soil, until a page from a magical book rises up with the bucket, ending episode 5, and episode 6 explains the past of the Herald clan, once known as Arasa, survivors of a shipwreck who came to the Vibers continent ruled by 8 kings, until war broke out and 7 kings died, leaving King Ysel, who sought to be the sole holy king, and Arasa signed a contract to serve him and became powerful enough to fight gods, but when belief in the afterlife led to Ysel's death, Arasa was imprisoned despite their contract remaining, and now Azad-Din studies the page and wonders if collecting the rest could break his curse, as only 2 paths exist, completing contracts for gold or finding the full book, and as he wanders thirsty through the desert, a girl spots him, recognizing him as the son of a traitor, fires an arrow at him, hides behind a rock, and when she peeks out thinking he is dead, a small stone strikes her forehead, knocking her down as Azad-Din calmly approaches her. He asks her if she was the one who fired that arrow, and then he asks their names, to which the girl replies that her name is Medium, while the boy introduces himself as Ismail. And they explain that they were sent here to watch over Azad-Din, and then Azad-Din shows his hand where the arrow is stuck and calmly asks if this is how they plan to protect him, and Medium bluntly replies that she thought he had run out of arrows, so she decided to gift him one, and Azad-Din says it feels like they have been bored staying here and tells them to go back home, mentioning the Assistencia Casa bloodline, but Azad-Din replies that bloodlines have nothing to do with heralds, and if they came here to work under him, then they are his subordinates, yet they still dared to shoot an arrow at him, so he thinks he needs to teach them what punishment follows such actions. Then he apologizes to Medium for speaking harshly and and says that if she wants something from him, she must show respect, whether she is an Arasa member or even his enemy. And realizing her childish mistake, Medium apologizes, which Azad-Din accepts, and as he starts to leave, he suddenly remembers his thirst and asks them for water. But Medium becomes angry and prepares to fight. And even though Ismail tries to calm her down, she refuses to listen, and with that, episode 6 ends, and episode 7 begins, where Medium challenges Azad-Din for his position, hoping to defeat him and take his place, which terrifies Ismail as he tries to stop her, warning her that Azad-Din will kill her, and Azad-Din thinks to himself that she has become far too reckless, and that Arasa has spoiled even its children, and he warns Medium that if she loses, she will lose her life, yet she accepts the fight without hesitation, while Azad-Din senses that Medium is underestimating him, and Medium believes only Arasa can defeat a herald, and that she worked her entire life to reach this position, and she moves 100 meters away to challenge him, and suddenly the owl flying above accepts the challenge on Azad-Din's behalf, shocking Medium as she recognizes the voice of the king, and it is revealed that the owl is a spirit holding the soul of the former king, and a king's command cannot be refused, so the fight must happen. And while Azad-Din calmly drinks water, Medium stands ready, but Ismail grows angry watching Azad-Din use a powerful Arasa technique, one not meant for just anyone, and Azad-Din attacks with that technique, but Medium avoids it using her magic, though she never expected that Azad-Din could also use magic, forcing her to use her strongest spell. And as Medium dodges and rushes toward him, she spots a huge rock beside Azad-Din and attacks with full force, slicing his body in two, making her believe he is dead, but he vanishes using magic and appears behind her, dodges her next attack, and hits her with a powerful punch that sends her flying into a massive rock, defeating her, and Ismail rushes forward in anger, but the king's voice stops him, declaring the fight over, Medium defeated, and now both Medium's and Ismail's fate belong to Azad-Din because Ismail interfered, and broken by defeat, Medium tries to take her own life with a dagger, but Azad-Din snatches it away with magic and drops it, telling her he knew she would try this and that. Losing a fight does not give her the right to die, saying she can only die when he dies or when he orders it, and scolding them for accepting such a fight without understanding, calling them reckless children. Then he hands Ismail his water bottle and says today's lesson is enough, freeing them both and asking them to forget this fight ever happened, warning that if anyone finds out their records will be erased, and as he walks away they follow him, but Azad-Din tells them again that he needs no slaves and orders them to return home, yet they refuse and stay with him, ending episode 7, and episode 8 explains that according to the contract, the Vibris continent kings and the Arasa clan worked for each other, killing anyone who opposed the king, and once the contract stood for loyalty and honor, but after the king's death it became a cruel curse that enslaved Arasa forever, until Arasa attacked and conquered the Terasar kingdom and obtained the Book of the Divine King, which was later stolen by a man named Ak, who tore the book apart and scattered its pages before dying to the curse, leaving behind two children named Azad-Din and Arail, with Arail becoming the strongest herald, while Azad-Din was seen as foolish, and the story returns to the desert, where Medium gives Azad-Din a letter from the Salajma regional head, making him realize he must search for the magical book, and as he heads towards Salajma the two follow him, resting under a tree until morning, then filling water at a waterfall where strangers confront them, demanding why they touch the water, and Azad-Din calmly says he does not want to fight and asks what they want in return, but they demand their lives, mock his mask, order Medium captured and the others killed, only to later beg for mercy, claiming they were common people sent by Margrave Kajel to find the book, and while Medium believes they are lying and prepares to kill them, Ismail agrees, but Azad-Din stops them, saying killing for personal gain is wrong, and everyone deserves a second chance, and relieved the men think they are spared, unaware of Azad-Din's attachment to punishment, as before leaving he damages their private parts so they can never repeat such crimes, and as they leave injured a monster suddenly attacks them, kills them and carries their bodies away, then spots a small fortified village, ending episode 8. And episode 9 begins as they travel towards Salajma, under the burning sun. Medium admitting she thought Azad-Din would kill those men, and Azad-Din replies that judging people without knowing them is wrong, that living without sight is painful, and sparing someone can give them a chance to change, though he remains troubled that Margrave Kajel is also searching for the book, and Ismail wonders if Kajel wants to regain his rank through the book's power, and Azad-Din decides to remove his mask to avoid being exposed as a herald, warning they must move carefully, and when he removes it both Medium and Ismail are shocked to see his empty eyes, and Azad-Din changes his uniform and pretends to be blind so no one recognizes him. Seeing this, Ismail asks how he managed to win that fight without having eyes, and Azad-Din calmly replies that he himself does not really know, because ever since he was born, he has been able to see even without eyes. And hearing this, Medium asks why his eyes are like that. So Azad-Din explains that when he was very young, his own sister destroyed both of his eyes with her sword and told him he would be fine one day and would not face any trouble. And now he says he is actually thankful to her because thanks to that he can pretend to be blind, and when he was alone, it was never a problem. But now that the two of them are with him, he must walk more carefully. And finally they reach Margrave Kajel's territory, where they see a massive fortress, and as they get closer, they notice long lines of people outside trying to enter. And Medium says she and Ismail have been here before, so Azad-Din asks if the situation was the same back then. And soon they see soldiers stealing belongings from people trying to go inside, and a man approaches Azad-Din and asks if he is blind, to which Azad-Din replies that he cannot see and that the two children with him are orphans. And then he asks the man what is happening here, and the man explains that rumors have spread that copies of a magical book made by the Herald clan have appeared somewhere on this land, so people are searching for it, and even Margrave Kajel's own son is involved. And hearing this, Azad-Din thinks that Kajel has yet another foolish son, and that trouble is surely coming. And nearby a soldier snatches money from a farmer who begs him to return it, saying it is how he survives, asking why they are taking his money if they are searching for the Divine King's book. But the soldier grows angry and beats him to the ground, while another soldier claims that grimoires can take any form and that the money itself might be one, so they must check it first. And then the farmer's daughter runs over crying that they are stealing her father's money, only to be threatened as well. And when the father hugs his daughter and protests that this is violence against a child, the soldiers beat him again. And seeing all this, Medium feels furious, but they hold themselves back and do not fight. And suddenly a soldier whispers something to the others, making them panic, while Azad-Din overhears everything with his sharp hearing, and all the soldiers rush inside with their belongings, leaving the people confused, until villagers shout that monsters have entered the village, and the soldiers shut the main gate, leaving everyone outside. And elsewhere, Kajel's son Jarkev prepares to return to the palace with his soldiers when he is told about the monsters, and he orders them to kill the monsters and take care of the villagers, since they are trained soldiers. But when a soldier asks to at least let people inside, Jarkev mocks him and leaves with the others, abandoning the villagers, and soon the ground begins to shake from the monsters' approach, while inside a box the people captured earlier wonder what is happening, and peek out to see many monsters attacking the village. And from afar someone watches a terrifying fire spreading through the village as screams fill the air, shocked by the chaos, while Azad-Din and his group are trapped inside the village, ending episode 9. And episode 10 begins as villagers try to flee, and a woman hands Ismail a lantern saying it is the last one left so he can protect his sister and uncle. And as people move on, Azad-Din stays behind and tells them he must go now, but they will meet again. And then soldiers, a captain, and villagers gather to defend the fortress, and the captain urges everyone to listen and stand together, saying those who can fight should join him, and those who cannot should support them, because if they do nothing, none of them will survive. And suddenly Azad-Din appears holding a wooden staff, and the gates are sealed as soldiers ready their weapons, and villagers tremble when they see countless monsters. And one monster named Gold declares they are searching for more meat, happily eyeing the fortress and stomping the ground to break it, and the captain orders them to kill the monster leader Ogre. Arrows fill the sky, and Gold is badly wounded, but Ogre hides behind the box and commands the others to smash the main gate, and Gold lifts a huge stone and smashes the gate, destroying it, forcing the captain to order a full attack. And amid the chaos, Azad-Din kills a monster, saves Khazit from a thrown rock, and tells the captain he will help protect the gate, introducing himself as Azad-Din of the Herald clan, shocking everyone who believed the Heralds were their true enemies. And then Azad-Din shoots Gold in the eyes, blinding him as blood pours out, and he screams, while Azad-Din stands on his shoulder and attacks the other ogres, and the captain wonders why a herald would help them, when suddenly a box crashes open and wounded prisoners crawl out, and Ogre appears shouting that the book belongs only to him and that he will be king, transforming into a terrifying monster form, making Azad-Din remark that this will not be easy. Ending episode 10, and episode 11 begins as Ogre, enraged, attacks Azad-Din in monster form, but Azad-Din jumps from Gold's head and dodges, while Ogre crushes Gold and slowly devours him, thinking he has killed Azad-Din, only to see him standing ready. And when Ogre returns to human form, Azad-Din recognizes him as a fake King Godkin, holding a glowing magic staff pointing toward the Book of the Divine King, and Godkin orders Azad-Din to bring him the book in exchange for a painless death, but Azad-Din attacks with an arrow, which Godkin dodges, enraged by his courage. And as the fight continues, Azad-Din realizes realizes the staff can locate the book, and though Godkin attacks fiercely, Izz-ad-Din avoids every strike, reaching for a sword since he has no arrows left, defending himself as Godkin breaks his own iron-like teeth to attack, poisons Izz-ad-Din's sword to ruin it, forcing him to throw it away. And as Godkin keeps attacking, Izz-ad-Din suddenly wonders why he is even helping these people at all. While thinking that he would not receive even a single gold coin for all this work. Suddenly many arrows fly from behind and strike Godkin, because the captain and the soldiers have taken position, and the captain shouts that no matter what happens, they must protect Izz-ad-Din and keep attacking the monster. And a soldier nervously says that if they help the Herald clan and the king finds out, they will be punished badly, but the captain snaps back asking which king they are talking about, the same king who abandoned them and ran away in fear, questioning who he really is to punish them. And hearing this, Cosette, still scared, fires arrows at the monster and says that if that is the case, then first they will kill the monster and deal with the Herald later. And everyone agrees and attacks together, filling the sky with arrows that pierce Godkin, yet Godkin protects his body using the monster's remains. And watching this, Izz-ad-Din thinks to himself that they could have given those arrows to him, but since they chose not to, he accepts it, then calmly picks up Godkin's fallen tooth and attacks him with it. Enraging Godkin, who yells how dare he attack the king of Fang, and Izz-ad-Din coldly replies that it is time to end this game, slicing Godkin's throat with the tooth so he collapses, broken and hopeless, realizing he will never become the Monster King. And as his monster form slowly fades, the captain orders everyone to stop attacking, while Izz-ad-Din quietly takes the magic staff, and the captain asks why he helped them and what he plans to do next. But a soldier accuses Izz-ad-Din, saying the monsters came only because of him and that they never appeared before, and the people move to kill him. Yet Izz-ad-Din stands silently, thinking. Ending episode 11. And episode 12 begins with everyone blaming Izz-ad-Din and saying the monsters came because of him. But Izz-ad-Din calmly says he does not know why the monsters came and that he only came to do his duty, explaining that he works only for gold coins and that someone used a coin to call him here to help them, shocking the captain, who wonders who would summon a Herald clan member for help. And Cosette asks for the name of the one who called him, but Izz-ad-Din refuses because he has no authority to reveal it, then asks permission to leave, asking if they will let him go or fight their own king for him, angering some soldiers who insult him as a useless son of a traitor clan and question his loyalty, to which Izz-ad-Din replies that he has never seen more loyalty than what he saw in them. And nearby a man crawls out of the box, terrified, crying and wondering if anyone is still alive, and Izz-ad-Din tells him to live as a good person from now on, breaking the man who cries in regret. Then Izz-ad-Din jumps onto the fortress wall, shocking everyone as they prepare to attack, but the captain yells for them to stop, and Izz-ad-Din takes some arrows from their bows, asking if anyone has a problem with it, and the captain thanks him. And in the next instant, Izz-ad-Din jumps away and disappears, and in the dark of night he runs along a lonely road as an emperor's voice mocks him for lying about the gold coin, and Izz-ad-Din replies that if he had not lied, they would have lived in fear, thinking they helped their enemy and would be punished by the king. And as he runs fast, he sees Ismail and Medium waiting for him, happy to see him return, joking that he wasted his energy without earning even one gold coin. And Izz-ad-Din replies that Medium once said helping helpless people is a good thing and that life has no meaning without helping others. Then he shows her the magic staff and asks if she has seen it before, and Medium examines it and says it belongs to King Kurt, but she has no stamina left to sense it properly, so Izz-ad-Din tells her to check it tomorrow, then jumps onto a tree branch, and Medium asks where he plans to go, and Izz-ad-Din urges them to leave quickly, while elsewhere villagers flee their village in fear of monsters, and a woman sees Izz-ad-Din holding a stick and asks when he returned because the children were searching for him, and Izz-ad-Din assures her they are smart and will come soon, then mentions hearing victory sounds from inside the village, guessing the soldiers killed the monsters, and villagers see many lanterns lit on the fortress, realizing the place is safe and that they have won, celebrating happily. But when they turn back, Izz-ad-Din is gone again, and Izz-ad-Din runs toward a mountain where smoke rises, confused by its source, until he sees soldiers camping below, complaining about drought, monsters, and Margrave Kajel caring only about his magic book instead of the village, planning to leave after earning money, and Izz-ad-Din thinks Kajel's foolish son must be camping here, then notices soldiers guarding a small camp with collected money, making him smile and say there is good loot here, and the owl teases him about calling it a jackpot, but Izz-ad-Din replies that he needs money because traveling costs a lot. So friend, if you enjoy this manhwa and want next part, so don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.